Hi there, and welcome to Parents Using Human Design, the podcast for conscious parents who are unlearning the old ways and rewriting the rules with self-trust, intuition, and a whole lot of grace. I'm Courtney.
And I'm Bryn, and we're just two moms exploring what it means to parent with presence, permission, and the wisdom of human design as our compass.
Whether you're brand new to human design or deep into your experiment, this space is for you.
And we're not here to tell you how to parent. We're here to support you in becoming more you, so you can raise your kids with more ease, connection, and authenticity.
Today, we are talking about, we're kind of extending from episode 5 and the whole extending love and compassion to family members, to loved ones, to yourself. I think we talked really high level that episode of like why it's important. And today, I think it's really important to talk about like the tangible ways that we can do that. I don't know about you, but that has not always come easy for me. I wasn't taught how to extend love and compassion, not only for myself, but others, right? I kind of grew up in a negative, critical, judgmental home. And so I had to rewrite that. I had to learn these skills. I don't know if you can relate to that, Bryn. I think you can. But so today we're going to talk about the tangible things. I'm excited about this because I feel like I could talk about this forever, because it is so incredibly important to bring that vibration up and be in that state of gratitude and love and compassion rather than judgment. And what are some of the lower vibration words that I'm struggling to find right now?
You're going to make me think I was so excited that you were going to be today.
Judgment, criticism,
Shame, guilt,
and guilt. Yes, all
fear.
those things,
Yeah.
right? So when we're in those lower vibrations, it's just, our life doesn't flow as well. We don't feel as uplifted. You just feel that negative vibe around you. You can probably relate to that. You've been around people where you just feel that heaviness, that ugh, like you can think of somebody right now. Like you can think of that one person in your life that you just don't like being around, right? And then you can think of, on the other side of that, who is somebody that you're around and you just can't get enough of them. And they have that like high vibration. They're more positive. They have that. So these are some tangible ways that you can bring yourself into that state, right? Number one, obviously, we talk about gratitude all the time, but let's take it even further. Not just like writing in your gratitude journal or thinking about the very vague things that you're grateful for, right? Being wildly specific. So let's start with number one, journaling. If you write in your gratitude journal specifics, like not just I'm grateful for the house I live in, but like I'm grateful that my home keeps me safe and secure, or I'm grateful that I am warm in my home today, or cool, depending on the season, right? And then taking it a step further of what did you do? How do I want to phrase this? How did you play a role in making that thing happen? So you have a roof over your head, you're nice and cool in your house in the heat of summer. What can you take credit for in that? So I work my ass off at a job. I found, like whatever that is for you.
Can I just pause
Yeah,
one?
please.
I feel like that's super important for those who might be the primary caregiver and who are not working or only working part-time. Speaking from experience, right? Because I've had periods of both, right? Through maternity leave or intentional unearning in my business, or I only work part-time. I just wanted to highlight this because that is so genius. I've never thought of that, adding that little step of what was my role in creating this or contributing to this, because it's so easy to feel discouraged, unseen, like you have a thankless job when you're taking care of the home, and that you're not contributing, because we have this wired belief system that you need to be earning money outside the home in order to be contributing to it. But thinking about the ways that you're contributing to those things that you're grateful for that are non-monetary. For sure, those things, like there are a lot of working parents here, and where both parents are working too. Of course, I totally get that. And that's valuable and that's important. I just wanted to highlight this for those who might be listening who maybe aren't in, that isn't their role in the household, and how valuable and important it is.
Absolutely. And to take that, to give ideas for those who are in that place, right? To give you some ideas of how you played a role in that. Maybe you're in a partnership, you have a spouse and you don't work, but they work, and you feel like they're contributing more than you are, but you are creating that home, right? You found that relationship. You did something in your life to get you to where you are. So what are those things that you've done? So that you can take credit for those. Wildly important, especially for extending that love and compassion for yourself, right? And then we can go to the other side of extending the gratitude and the appreciation for the loved ones in your home, right? Whether it's your kids, your spouse, maybe your parents, whoever that is in your life. Instead of like just saying thank you for something they've done, of course, saying thank you is wonderful and great. And we teach our kids that, but taking it a step further of, I appreciate you for doing this. I appreciate you for cleaning the dishes, and taking it even a step further into, I appreciate you when you clean the dishes because it makes me feel loved. It makes me feel taken care of. It makes me feel appreciated. It makes me feel seen. When you're able to express that emotion behind why you appreciate them doing what they're doing, it gives them a little glimpse of like, oh, and it's a positive reinforcement that they can actually feel into their body because that you're expressing that emotion. And it's going to help them recognize next time, oh, when I did the dishes last time, it made my wife feel this way. I'm going to do it again. It gives them the opportunity to step into serving you as well as serving themselves. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I'm hearing twofold, right? It's that gratitude practice for yourself of like, what am I grateful for? And how am I grateful for myself contributing to that? And then also extending the gratitude to those in your household, acknowledging verbally. This is something that's particularly challenging for me. One, I don't journal. I'm very auditory in processing, and mental processing, mental authority. So that makes a lot of sense. So it's not a tangible practice in that way of like, oh, need to get my journal, right? Like where you have something physical to hold. So very curious about how you play with that. And then how, yes, when we're extending that, but I think you probably know where I'm going with this. Like, how do we also practice this with our children and our spouse, not just like constantly giving it to them? Because what comes up is like in my own personal world, like when people extend, say, their appreciation or gratitude, it's hard to receive it. And a lot of times there's this like like I'm twinging, I'm cringing because I'm like, what do you expect? What do you want? Right? What do you
Yeah.
want from that? Because I'm waiting for like, what's the catch here?
Ooh,
You know
I
what I
freaking
mean?
love this. And that to me, this is so good because I've been working on my own receptivity. So, number one, when we feel uncomfortable, when somebody is expressing gratitude towards us or telling us how much they appreciate us or love us or whatever it is that they're expressing, it can feel wildly uncomfortable, especially to those of us who weren't given that early in life, right? Or in the past. And that is a huge bright light shining on all your shadows of, hey, girl, or hey, man, whatever, that this is something that you can actually like work on and grow into and feel into. So I have to like pause for a second because there's so much here. I don't know that we're gonna be able to cover it all in one episode, but
Welcome to Bryn's therapy session.
oh, I freaking love this. Okay, so number one, with that part of it and feeling the discomfort when people are expressing it to you, and maybe you don't feel comfortable expressing it to your spouse or your kids because you don't want to overwhelm them. You don't want them to feel uncomfortable, right? It's just like anything else. When we practice it, it becomes more normal, right? It's not normal if we're not doing it. We've never experienced it before. It's building that muscle of capacity to hold those discomfort, that uncomfortable feeling of like, well, what are you trying to get from me? I don't know what your purpose is. What is your agenda here? And you're expressing this. And that's another bright light shining on my belief system. If somebody's showing me love and appreciation, that means that they're being manipulative and they want something. What's going on there? Where is that coming from? So then, of course, when you're feeling that way and thinking that way, when somebody's expressing appreciation towards you, when you're going to go try to share appreciation for somebody else, you're going to have these ideas in the back of your head of they're going to think I'm manipulative. They're going to think that I'm trying to get something. So then it's going to come across with that energy, right? Rather than the energy of like intention of just really being appreciative. And this is things that you can work on over time. And it's like, it's a process, right? I just a few years ago was wildly uncomfortable anytime somebody showed me appreciation too, or even to express it out loud to somebody else. I couldn't even name some of my emotions, right? And to be able to say to my husband, I so appreciate you. I'm using the dishes for an example because it's just like an easy thing, but I so appreciate you doing the dishes tonight because it made me feel valued and seen and loved. To say that 2 or 3 years ago would have been like gag me, right? So the reminder that it takes practice, it takes intention. It's not going to happen just like that overnight with one time doing it. And I can tell you that from my own personal experience and the clients that I've worked with, when you can build this muscle and practice it, the shift in the house is insane. The amount of like actually being heard and respected and received from your kids, from your spouse is incredible to witness. When I get goosebumps and I get emotional when I think about it, because as a mom, and I think most moms can relate to this, you can feel, you can be in this place of not feeling appreciated, not feeling valued, not feeling like you're doing enough, not feeling heard, right? Like all these things, you just feel kind of invisible sometimes. And what am I doing here? And you get frustrated and you get triggered and you get all these things and you get resentful. And when you can start, this is such an amazing practice. When you can start doing this, you start slowly seeing a shift. So I've been practicing this for 2 years now. And the amount of emotional resilience in our home, the ability, now my kids are a little bit older, so that plays a role as well, but the ability for them to be able to say, Mommy, I don't like you right now, or Mommy, I'm mad at you without getting weird, right? Or for them, when I ask them to do something or when I ask them a question about something, they actually respond in a way that's like, okay, Mommy's just communicating with me. I know that she loves me. She shows me appreciation every day. I know where I stand with her, right? um I don't think I'm doing a good job of articulating exactly what it can do in your home, but it's like this peace, this ease, this more flow. And obviously we have issues too, right? Like we still have issues. We're not perfect. And this will always be a practice in our home of all of us learning how to do this because we're human and we're always growing and learning.
Yeah. I think you're doing a great job articulating it. What I was making me think of in my home, because my kids are small, is this interesting thing that I noticed where we never had to teach our kids manners. Now they're small, anything can happen. But my point is like the power of modeling the behavior that you want, right? Oftentimes it's like so many generationally speaking are do as I say, not as I do, right? That was the parenting style, like follow the rules, do as I say, not as I do, right? You could have an incredibly abusive parent, but you could not hit your brother or sister or whatever the case may be. But with our kids, like we never, and it was a little baffling the first time around. And then I saw it with the second, we never had to teach please and thank you. They just always say please and thank you. And it's because it's so freaking automatic. Yeah. Okay. Now, as I'm saying this, I'm realizing my son just this morning, I was like, oh, ouch. I was helping him with something and I hurt myself. And he was like, sorry, mommy. Right. And I was like, oh, honey, no, you didn't do anything. I did it to myself. And I was like, oh, that's also automatic, right? Sorry can be good. But when it comes out automatic, I have an issue with that because I don't think there should be an automatic apology. But anyway, it's great to notice like the modeling. So if you're modeling that sharing of the gratitude, automatically kids are going to start picking that up regardless of their age.
Exactly. I love that point so much. You don't even have to teach them how to do it when you start young and they just see you doing it. And then they follow suit. As we all know, I'm sure we've all heard our kids say things that we've said before. We're like, I can't believe it came out of you. Exactly. Yes. Yeah, so that's the main tangible way. I have a couple other ways that I think we can get into now. Bryn, do you think that's okay timing wise? I wrote some notes so I wouldn't forget, but that's a big one, you guys. Like, and if you feel like you need help in what that looks like for you, please reach out. Because as you know, as you can see and tell, I'm like very passionate about this because it's incredible what it can do for you and your family.
Also, I just want to highlight too, because you said, oh, you don't even have to teach it when they're small, but you just said you've been really working on this last few years and your kids are older and they're modeling behavior too, right? In adolescence. So it's not like you had to do it before age 7 when their subconscious was set or whatever, you know what I mean? Like
Totally. There's always change, right?
yeah.
Like, our brains are so adaptable and we can always make changes. And it is when you if you are aware and conscious of it when they're smaller, it's a little bit easier. It's not quite as much work, right? So that's why I said that. But you're absolutely right. There's always shifts that can be made. It doesn't matter what the past is. We can always move forward with something better,
Yeah.
and more grace and love.
And we also know too that it's like that when you change the way you see things, the things you see change, right? So it changes the frequency in the home. It changes the vibrational frequency. And when you raise that frequency, that behavior is gonna raise to match. So even if it's just coming from you and you're seeing, whoever's listening to this, and you're the only one having these intentions and expressing this behavior and sharing your gratitude in this way, you can't help it. They will follow suit to some degree, or the behaviors will change because your frequency is different. Similar to when you go the opposite direction, right? Like if you're expecting the worst and and listen, we all fall into that from time to time, you know what I mean? But I think that's a really interesting point too, is like, you don't even have to say, okay, now everybody, we're doing gratitude, it's just you in your own practice.
Exactly. And that's for everything, right? Not just in your home, that's for life in general. When you are practicing, you are affecting everybody around you, everybody you come in contact with in ways that you're not even aware of. And you're absolutely right. You don't have to sit down and be like, okay, guys, it's time to do this, or tell your husband, you need to be more grateful, or you need to express this more. Just model it yourself and they will follow.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a stick to itness, is that it's like, this is great. Now we're all going to go off after this conversation and have 24 hours of gratitude. And then we forget entirely, how do you make these practices stick?
Yes, exactly.
I'm genuinely asking, Courtney.
No, I'm feeling so I know.
Tell me the answers.
It's just like anything else, right? It's a habit. It's a intention behind it. So when I like to kind of compare things to exercise, because that's very people are used to that. But just like with exercise, you could go for 24 hours and go gung ho and exercise. And then how do you make it stick? It's building that muscle, building the habit, being intentional of, okay, today I'm going to practice this gratitude in a way, one time with my husband, with whoever's in my house. It's kind of like putting it on your to-do list. If things aren't on my to-do list, I don't do them, right? But it's not in a way of like, just add it to the list of things to do. It's a being intentional so that you can better your home, your family.
So I'm thinking like set a reminder on your phone.
Yeah, time, like even like a timer, or like habit stacking. So maybe when you sit down at dinner time would be a good time, a reminder of, I'm with my family. Who can I express this gratitude towards and appreciation towards? You find what works for you, right?
Yeah. And I think for me, there's like the exercise example is so great for me personally, because, the first thing I went to is like, what makes me exercise? Well, it's like the negative self-talk and the shame. It's like not the good stuff, right? Where it's like, oh, I feel flabby, or I don't like the way I look in these clothes. I need to work out more. And that's keeps it top of mind. But also it's sometimes not always so negative. It's sometimes I'm just like, I need to reset. Like I need to be in nature. I need to get out and move my body. I'm feeling stagnant, right? Energetically. And so I think we could also, maybe for some people who connect with that a little bit more and don't maybe love the alarm cue or whatever, or visual, like have the journal next to the bed or whatever. That doesn't work for me because I don't journal.
Right. You don't journal. Yeah.
But it's these cues of like, ooh, it feels heavy in the house. Ooh, everyone's been bickering. Let me just do this, right? Let me see how I can impact this and play with it, even almost as an experiment, or just to notice, like, I'm going to go lock myself in the bathroom for 3 minutes and tap into gratitude, and then come out and just emanate it. Like, you don't even have to do anything, and just see like what happens, but allowing that external cue of like, okay, here's how it feels, or here's what's going on, or here's the behavior I'm sensing. It is tough to step out of reactivity for sure. But again, allowing, once that becomes in the front of your mind, right? Like, we are creating awareness now, and now we have awareness around it. Now it's easier to then, start to ping in the moment. What usually happens is we have awareness, and then after the fact, we're like, oh, I probably should have done that. Practice it in that moment, but then that'll start to cue your mind when you're in the moment of like, oh yeah, there's that thing I wanted to do.
Exactly. And it's the daily practice, and even not even necessarily like you're saying, expressing it outwardly to people. You could be doing it internally, whether that's voice noting by yourself, whether that's just in your head, whether it's journaling, whatever works for you, so that you're building that muscle. So when you are with people, you can use that muscle, right? It's like training for the marathon. Like, you're not going to go run the marathon without training for it. So even outside the times, especially outside the times that you're triggered or reactionary, in a calm state, so that you can tap into it. So then when you are aware, like you're saying, when that awareness comes in, you're able to like, oh, I can actually do something about it now. Yeah.
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 Cool. Okay. You have more tips.
I
So
do. Let's I want all of them. I love it so much. So this kind of is a piggyback into this, but instead of like the appreciation gratitude piece, it can be a like the beauty I see in you is, or the power I see in you is, right? So like when we talk about our kids, most of us have some sort of practice of doing this, of like, oh my gosh, you're so good at this, or look at how creative you are, or look at what persistence did in this situation with you, right? When you're expressing these things to your kiddos, it's the power I see in you, the beauty I see in you. It just like allows them to build that receptivity muscle too. That was just a short little bit that
I love that. What
I don't
came
think about.
Yeah, what came, and I have a human design piece to add to that,
Yeah.
of course. What came to me as you were saying that is, yes, I know you're going to want to go look at charts now. Okay, so when you're done listening to this, go pull the chart. Look at the conscious sun, which when you look at the chart on the right side, it's usually in black or a darker color, but it'll be on the right side. The very top one is the sun sign. It looks like a circle with a dot in the middle, like a target kind of. Look at that number, that gate, and then we're also going to want to look at the unconscious Mars. So if you go over to the left side and you go down, and it's the circle with the arrow kind of off diagonally. Okay, that's your unconscious Mars. Look at those two numbers, the gates. So you're going to see, like, I'm looking at you, Courtney, looking at your chart, 59.1, and then your unconscious Mars is 1.4. Look up what the gifts involved in those. And you could Google human design gate and then put that in. And it's really the first number. I wouldn't, if you're new to human design, I wouldn't worry too much about the expression, which is the number after the decimal point, but look up 59 and look up 1. And those two gifts with your children are really great to highlight when you're saying, what I see the power in you. I see this gift in you, really highlighting those. And they're important because the sun is your primary gift. It's like the biggest thing that you're here to share with the world. And your unconscious Mars is your core wound. It's the biggest challenge or struggle that you're going to have, that you get to overcome, and that is oftentimes shared in some capacity in your work, in your life, right? So if we can have our pulse on, okay, what is this gift and what is the biggest challenge, we can normalize the challenge for our children. Right. And then we can also highlight their gifts so that it stays top of mind, so that they're honing that, so that they're not creating shame around that or fear around that gift, that they can be that fullest expression, the highest vibration. So that's like a super stealthy, right there. If you have multiple kids, I know it's a lot. You may have to put it in the notes in your phone or something, but just kind of look it up. And I would take it out. Yeah, you can look up the human design, but what I really love is gene keys, the gene key expression, because it'll give you a very clear low vibration is this theme, high vibration is this, divine vibration is this. So you kind of get the full range of the expression of that. And then you can start to look for ways to reinforce that. Oh, if I know that my daughter's, core gift, her main gift is around stick to itness. Like we can start to look at like, oh, I love how you just stuck with that, even though, and this is what you said that triggered it, is like, I love how you stuck with that, even though she's a generator and I'm not calling this out, but I'm like, even though it didn't really light you up or excite you, you stuck with it because you knew it needed to be done. That's awesome, right? I can highlight that because that's going to be a core theme in her life.
Yeah.
Similar to, looking at, now can't remember off the top of my head, so let me look. Similar to with, like that was her unconscious Mars. So that's a wounding, right? But then there's also her gift. Like, oh, you see that differently. Gate 43, like you have this different insight. Like not everybody's going to get it. Not everybody's going to agree with you, but I think it's super cool that you see it that way.
Yeah.
And she does this a lot with her fashion. It's like different, she's 5, whatever, but it's different in the way that she wants to express herself through clothing and through makeup, even at age 5. Anyway, I don't want to harp on this, but it's
this is
pulling those gifts. So those are 2 points, conscious Sun, unconscious Mars, that you can just like really go look, do a little bit of research, and then make some notes in your phone so that you can remember, and then start to give yourself some keywords to build on this really incredible practical tool.
Yeah, and just to clarify, you're looking up the people in your life, your kids, your spouse, whatever, their conscious Sun, their unconscious Mars, and focusing in on their gift and their wound, in showing them the power I see in you, the beauty I see in you. I love that.
Yes. I love that. And yourself too. I mean, look in the mirror, make eye contact.
Absolutely. I love that so much.
That's the most uncomfortable of all.
Oh my gosh. And oh my gosh, Bryn, when you can build that muscle, it just opens up so much. And obviously, like I said before, we're all human and we all have the negative, the self-critic, the stuff that pops in. And recently I'm learning that we all have that. We all have, they're kind of like different radio stations, right? We have the radio station of that, the gloom and doom. We have like the reality radio station. Okay, this is just reality. This is just where I am. And then we have like this potential radio station of this is what can be. And I believe that. And when we get to focus on which one we want to focus on, right? They're all playing all the time. It's just like the radio station, the car on the radio. It's, you get to choose which one you're tuning into, which I think is so fun. Okay, anyway, to move on with, anyway, I have to point this out because this is something, and this is totally off topic, but one of my coaches just pointed this out to me, that I tend to say anyway, and it totally blocks flow. She's like, don't say anyway. It's blocking your flow. Allow what's meant to come through, come through. So I just almost said it again. I'm noticing when I say that. Okay. So the next and the last one that I had was leading with connection and love. Okay. So if you grew up in a critical house, a judgmental house, and you're used to that, often I'm just going to give you an example of this. When I would used to come home, like maybe from work, I was shift work in the hospital, come home from my shift, and I would notice the mess on the counter, the dishes in the sink, the things that I expected to be done when I got home that weren't done, right? And my mind automatically goes there. And why aren't the dishes done? Why is the counter a mess? Why aren't the kids in bed? Da 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 da. When we can take a breath and lead with love and connection. I actually have this on my phone of a reminder: lead with love and connection instead of leading with criticism, judgment, correction, right? It opens up the heart space of the people around you, your kids, your spouse, to receive the correction, criticism, whatever it is you're wanting to actually give them. It opens them up. It makes them and you feel more connected, more loved, more seen, more heard, more valued, blah, 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 all the things that we want to feel. It allows that space. And then you can move into, hey, I noticed that this wasn't done. What's going on there? Give some sort of correction. And I think that with kids, it's just even more important, because when they are used to getting the correction first, then they just feel like
criticized.
all the time, right? They start to feel like they're feeling judged and criticized all the time. They can't do anything right. And I think every human feels that way when that's the case, but I feel like kids feel it even more. So that's my last tip and trick is lead with love and connection before correction.
Yeah. So what I heard when you said, okay, come in and it's like, hey, how's it going? Like checking in with everyone, sharing some love. When you're in the habit, okay, so two things, sorry. One is what I heard was then like, hey, I noticed these things weren't done. To me, that felt like curiosity. It came with an energy of curiosity versus why aren't these things done? Right. It's like intonation for sure, but there was a level of curiosity. And to me, that felt like a bridge between coming in critical, coming in hot, like upset, reactive, and then love. That can feel like very sort of far apart, especially when you're in the habit. So what I heard when you gave the example was curiosity in the middle. And that to me felt like a bridge. But that was the second thing is like, how do you go? I mean, that's got to be challenging when you're breaking a habit or let's say building a new one, right? It's like the intentionality. But again, when you are so practiced of being in reactivity,
Yeah.
what is the bridge? How do you bridge it?
Yeah, well, it's like what we were talking about before of that it's being curious with yourself and the awareness, right? And it is hard. It is going to be hard, right? This is not meant to be easy. It can be challenging and really I think that what could be really helpful is really understanding why that matters to you, why changing the habit matters to you. Why do you want more love, connection, gratitude, appreciation in your home versus the things that you've been living with, right? What's going on that makes you feel that way? Are you resentful? Do you feel unheard? Are your kids not listening? Do your kids treat you poorly? Is all these things that maybe are things that you're wanting to change and better? Focus in on the why before even going into doing this, because if you don't have that, there's no point, right? If you don't understand why you're doing it and you feel happy and wherever you are, that's okay. You don't have to do this. Um, that's not answering the question. Will you ask me the question again?
Well, it is in a way because if you don't understand the why, the question was about how do you bridge? How do you go from reactivity to love and compassion? It feels so extreme. And I felt like the curiosity was a good place, but you are even taking it beyond that or before all of this of like, why does it matter? And I think it lends in nicely to our conversation about letting go of control in our last episodes. If you haven't listened to that, go back and listen, and how we kind of got on this, whole topic of what are practical ways that we can bring this compassion and love and gratitude into our home in really tangible ways. And sorry, my dog's sneezing and, doing his thing. So this is really about kind of backing up, like, why is it so important to have the house clean, or why do you feel such a need? Because that's doing that inner work. Where is that coming from? Because when you explore that, it might start to dissolve the reactivity.
Yeah.
Right. And that is the bridge, but it's almost like coming before. It's almost like you're choosing a different route
Yeah.
rather than needing to find the bridge to jump the crevasse, or it's like
Exactly.
we don't
Yes.
need the bridge. Now we're going around.
Yep, exactly. And I love that you're putting it that way because we as humans can be so focused on what we're trying to accomplish, and we just see this straight linear way to get there, and like we push so hard to get there. And I am speaking of myself because I definitely do this, and it's just like I'm just going to keep pushing, and like you said, trying to build that bridge, trying to figure that out. And when we can maybe look at it a different way and go a different path, a different journey around, and really learn to trust that journey and learn to listen intuitively and divinely to, like, maybe we do it a different way kind of situation. Yes, please.
I was
Yes.
just getting the visual of, like, because we live in the mountains, like when you're going through the mountains, it's these windy roads, like you're working with nature, and there are these windy roads, and you're not just like barreling through the mountains. Sure, there's some bridges, but it's like, or there's some tunnels, but it's this beautiful windy road. And sure, it's not the straightest, as the crow flies, but the journey is really beautiful too. And
I'm
that
getting
sounds
like
cliche,
full
but that was the visual that I was getting of like driving through these winding mountain roads or meandering roads. Like it doesn't always have to be so linear.
Yeah, I was getting full body goosebumps as you were saying that, just the visualization of that, because yes, yes. So you guys, like, just envision that. Envision this beautiful windy road through pine trees, and that's the journey. That's the beautiful journey of it all.
Or wherever your happy place is. I'm also seeing like rolling hills and the ocean.
Totally, yes. Yes.
This is so helpful. These are practical tools I'm gonna literally put into place. I was thinking of we really need to get back into the practice of sharing what we're grateful for at bedtime when we're doing that. And it's like before the books, like 3 books. We usually do 3 books. So like 3 things we're grateful for, and then 3 books or something like that.
So cute. I love that. Yeah, or I've seen people have like a gratitude jar if you have older kids where they can literally write something down. Some people like to do it where you do it before you leave the house and you drop something in that you're grateful for, or when you get home, drop something in. We haven't implemented that, but I literally have a post-it note to remind me to get the gratitude jar set up because I want to start implementing that.
Love that.
Yeah.
Journal, get a journal, put that bedside or put that wherever you're going to see it on your desk. That could be a cue. We've talked about the alarms or reminders that you can set throughout your day or at some point in your day. I mean, I think these are really tangible, practical things that people can walk away with and start to practice. And then I want to hear from people. How did this work?
And where are you, like, in your journey? Like, how did it work? Kind of where are you? What did you implement? How did it work? What do you see? What have you learned? All of those things. We would love to hear all of that.
Yeah. Not that we have a way for you to reach out to us. We'll drop our emails. We'll drop our emails in the show notes, and
we are gonna do that this time because I don't think we've done, and I think we've said it like every time.
I know. So mine is Bryn at brynbrown.com. You can email me. Courtney, yours is
Courtney at courtneycoacheswellness.com.
Okay, beautiful.
They're pretty easy. So that's what they are, but we're gonna drop them in the show notes.
We're just playing with this. It's all an experiment.
Exactly.
You're a 3-line, right, Courtney? A 1-3.
Am I totally brain farting? Yeah.
Yeah. It's all about experimenting and play.
I was confused between mine and the other people in my house. I have to remind myself of
Listen, this is my world and I can't remember.
Yes.
I can remember my clients easier than I can remember my family members. It's wild.
Funny. Yeah, that's so funny. I think that's kind of a sign in my mind that this is why you do it, that this is what you're meant to be doing, right? Like you can focus on everybody else's, but I don't know. Anyway.
Well, I know mine really well. Focus on me. It's when it becomes relevant, right? And then I come to the chart and I'm like, oh, where might that be showing up? Or how can I, exactly. That's where it becomes so helpful to me. But that's, again, another topic.
Here's another tip really quick for you guys who are listening. I don't know how you do this, Bryn. I know you have your computer right there, but I even have a tab open in my web browser on my phone of my human design, my husband's, and both kids at the very top of my tab. So if I need to refer back to it, it's just like an easy, or I guess you could screenshot them and keep them saved in a folder in your photos or
I have them favorited and then they're my favorites folder.
Yeah.
I like having it pulled up for me personally as a practitioner. I like having it pulled up in the system that I use because I can get that cheat sheet of like, oh wait, what is that gate? Or some of the big things in the chart, you just know, like there's not so much to learn, but when you get in, there's 64 gates and there's 6 line expressions per gate, right? Or there's different,
how many combinations is that?
Yes, there's just so many different nuances. I don't have them all memorized. I go to my cheat sheet. I'm in Chat GPT sometimes as well. So I don't recommend using chat as a search engine, by the way. Okay, it's not good for the environment to use, so please use it mindfully. But you can get a lot of information by Googling as well.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Amazing. This was so good. This was amazing. Thank you guys so much for listening. We so appreciate you being here. Obviously, share it with a friend, a family member, anybody that you think would get benefit from this as well. And we hope to hear from you. We hope to hear how you're doing with all of this. Okay.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.